The first time I saw her, she was standing beneath the flickering hollow sign of Docking Ring 7 on Meridian Station. The sign above her head glitched between advertisements for quantum insurance and half-price plasma rifles, bathing her in alternating gold and violent blue. She didn't seem to notice. She simply stood there, tall and impossibly still, holding a stack of thin crystalline sheets in her hands. Looking for a mate, the flyers read in clean Galactic standard. No fine print. No clan emblem. No genetic prerequisites. No dowry requirements. No combat ranking. Just looking for a mate. Meridian Station was the kind of place where 3 different wars could be negotiated in one corridor and a black market organ auction would happen in the next. I was there because human contractors were cheap, adaptable, and expendable. Most species thought we were amusing, useful, short-lived, but not mate material. I leaned against the bulkhead with a mug of station-grade coffee and watched. A pair of Virex merchants passed her first, their segmented limbs clicking in faint irritation. Primitive courtship ritual, one hissed through a translator. A trio of Talari officers slowed down long enough to scan her biometrics and then burst into harmonic laughter. A Bracken war priest actually stopped to lecture her about sacred bonding rites. She listened politely to all of them, then offered each a flyer. None accepted. She didn't look angry or embarrassed. She simply continued. I don't know why I walked over. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was the way she stood, calm in the center of mockery, like gravity itself refused to move her. Up close, she was not human, but close enough to unsettle me. Her skin shimmered faintly silver under the station lights. Her eyes were deep violet, almost luminous. Her hair, if that's what it was, fell like threads of dark glass to her shoulders. She looked at me as if she had been expecting me all along. You are human, she said. Last I checked. Good. And she handed me a flyer. I took it. Just like that. Around us, a few bystanders actually paused. You should read it, she added. I did. It said, seeking long-term bonded partner. No political alliance required. No economic contribution necessary. No species restriction. Intent, companionship, shared life, and mutual defense. Apply by direct conversation. I blinked. Mutual defense? She nodded. Life is statistically dangerous. That was the most practical pickup line I had ever heard. You're serious? I asked. Yes. You're not from around here.
No.
Running from something? A small pause. Yes. That should have been my cue to leave. Instead, I said, coffee? We sat at a small viewport cafe overlooking the docking lanes. Cargo freighters drifted like silent whales in vacuum, their engines glowing faintly. My name is Kale Arden, she said. The name rolled smoothly, almost musical. I'm Daniel Reyes, I replied. Freelance engineer. Occasional problem solver. Full-time bad decision maker. Her lips curved slightly. You took the flyer. Yeah. You are the only human to do so. How many did you give out? 112. I choked on my drink. And I'm the only one? Yes.
Wow.
Humanity really showing its courage today. I do not think it was fear, she said thoughtfully. I believe it was calculation. I leaned back. Okay, why the flyers? No offense, but you could probably just ask. Her gaze shifted to the viewport, watching ships glide past. My species bonds for life. Traditionally, mates are selected through political contracts or combat trials. Both result in high casualty rates. So, you opted for Craigslist. I do not know this Craigslist, but if it reduces bloodshed, I approve. I laughed before I could stop myself. Then her expression turned serious. I require a partner not bound by my people's traditions. Someone outside their influence. Someone they would underestimate. That set off alarms. Your people sound intense. They are. Define intense. They conquered 3 stellar systems before developing faster than light travel. I stared at her. You're joking. I do not understand the humor. The air between us shifted. What species are you? I asked quietly. Lyrathi. The word hit like a shockwave.
I'd heard of them.
Everyone had. The Lyrathi Imperium was a rising power on the galactic stage, strategic, disciplined, terrifyingly efficient. Their warriors were legendary. Their royalty, untouchable. And you're just handing out flyers? I whispered. She met my eyes fully for the first time. I am 4th in line to the throne of blades. I nearly fell out of my chair. You're a princess. Yes. And you're looking for a husband at docking ring 7? Yes. You couldn't just arrange something internally? Her voice lowered. My last 3 arranged suitors attempted to assassinate me. I stopped smiling. They believed eliminating me would strengthen their claim to succession. And if you marry outside your species, I forfeit my place in line. I become politically irrelevant. And safe. She held my gaze. Safer. I should have walked away. Humans didn't meddle in imperial succession crises. We fixed engines. We delivered cargo.
We survived.
But something in her expression, something honest and exhausted, kept me seated. You realize, I said carefully, if this is real, marrying you paints a target on my back the size of a moon. Yes. And your enemies would come after me. Yes. And your people would consider me an insult. Correct. Fantastic. She tilted her head slightly. You may decline. I looked at the flyer in my hand. No conditions. No species restriction. Just companionship. Shared life. Mutual defense. When was the last time anyone had offered a human something without strings attached? You said mutual defense. I said slowly. What exactly are we defending against? Her eyes darkened. My eldest brother. The Lyrathi do not bluff. I learned that 3 days later when Meridian Station went into lockdown. The first explosion tore through docking ring 7 at 3:12 station time. The second disabled the primary shield grid. Panic spread like fire. Kale and I were in my rented maintenance bay, going over ship schematics. She had insisted on inspecting my freighter herself. I did not expect it to be so improvised, she had said delicately. It's called creativity, I replied. When the alarm screamed, she was on her feet instantly. He has found me. Your brother? Yes. How many ships does he have? She closed her eyes briefly, as if listening to something only she could hear. At least 4 war frigates. I stared at her. This station can't handle that.
No.
The deck shuddered as distant impacts rattled the hull. We need to leave, I said. Agreed. We ran for my ship. Outside, chaos reigned. Smoke filled the corridors. Security drones sparked and fell from the ceiling. Through the viewport, I saw them. Lyrathi warships.
Sleek.
Blade-shaped. Glowing with cold, blue-white energy. They moved with terrifying precision, disabling, not destroying, the station's defenses. They want you alive, I realized. Yes. We reached my freighter. It was old, scarred, and decidedly unimpressive compared to the warships outside. Kale paused at the ramp. If you depart now without me, she said quietly, they will not pursue. I looked at her. And let them drag you back to a political execution? It would ensure your survival. I snorted. Princess, I took the flyer. She studied me for a long moment. Then she nodded once. We boarded. Escaping Meridian Station was the most reckless thing I have ever done. I rerouted power from life support to engines. I manually recalibrated the FTL core while under fire. I used cargo containers as improvised chaff. Kale stood at the tactical console, her movements precise and calm. 2 interceptors approaching Vector 3, she said. Got it. I spun the ship hard, skimming the station's hull so close that debris scraped our shields. Your vessel handles like an injured animal, she observed. Hey, it is a compliment. Injured animals are unpredictable. 1 interceptor overshot us. I triggered a burst from our mining lasers, hardly military grade, but enough to blind its sensors temporarily. The second locked onto us. Jump coordinates ready? I shouted. Yes. Punch it. Space folded. The stars stretched into impossible lines. And then, silence. We emerged in deep space, far from any trade lanes. My hands shook on the controls. Status? I asked. Minor hull damage. Engines stable. We are alone. I sagged back in my seat. You realize, I said breathlessly, this officially qualifies as treason against a galactic power. Yes. You really know how to pick dates. She turned toward me. You could still abandon this path. I met her gaze. I won't. We spent the next weeks in hiding. Uncharted systems. Remote asteroid belts. Abandoned research outposts. And somewhere between repairing hull plating and rationing supplies, something changed. She wasn't just a fugitive princess anymore. She was curious about Earth, about oceans, about music, about why humans laughed at inappropriate times. She tried coffee again and declared it aggressively stimulating. I taught her how to play old Terran card games. She taught me Lyrathai blade forms in the cargo bay. You are inefficient, she informed me after disarming me for the 10th time. Yeah, well, we can't all be born imperial murder machines. Correction, she said softly. I was born to end wars. I stopped joking. And what do you want? I asked. She hesitated. A life not measured in victories. That was the moment I knew I wasn't in this for survival anymore. I was in it for her. They found us anyway.
Not her brother this time.
The Imperial fleet. A single dreadnought emerged from hyperspace, blocking our path near a dying red star. Its voice filled our comms. Princess Kale Ardent. Return to Lyrathai space. The throne demands your presence. She looked at me. This is my mother's flagship. Your mother? As in? Yes. The Empress. The dreadnought dwarfed my freighter like a mountain beside a candle. You can still walk away, she said quietly. I took her hand. I took the flyer. She exhaled softly. We docked. The throne chamber of a Lyrathai dreadnought is not symbolic. It is functional. Weapons integrated into the walls. Tactical displays woven into the floor. Guards in ceremonial armor standing like statues. And at the center, the Empress.
Tall.
Silver-skinned. Eyes like cold stars. She regarded me as one might examine a curious insect. This is the human, she said. Yes, mother, Kale replied. The Empress descended from her throne. You understand, she said to me, that bonding with my daughter severs her claim to the throne. Yes. You understand it invites hostility from those who prefer her dead. Yes. You understand you will be hunted. I met her gaze. I was already hunted. A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Empress studied me for a long time. Then she asked the question that mattered. Why? I could have said love. I could have said loyalty. Instead, I said the truth. She deserves a life. Silence. Then, unexpectedly, the Empress smiled. Fourth in line, she said softly to Kale. You were always the one least suited to rule. Kale stiffened. You lack ambition, the Empress continued. You lack hunger. She turned back to me. And you, human, you lack fear. I swallowed. That's not entirely accurate. A faint flicker of amusement crossed her face. Very well. The throne releases its claim. Gasps echoed through the chamber. But, she added, know this. Should you harm her, there will be nowhere in this galaxy you may hide. Understood, I said. She extended a blade, ceremonial, glowing faintly. Then seal your bond.
Kale looked at me.
This is the final step, she whispered. I took the blade. We pressed our palms together. A thin line of silver light traced across our skin, sealing the Lyrathai bond. Energy pulsed once, then faded. It was done. We returned to Meridian Station months later. Not as fugitives. Not as royalty. Just two beings choosing their own path. People still stared at us. Some whispered. Some laughed. But this time, I didn't care. Kale stood once more beneath the holosign of Docking Ring 7. In her hands, she held a single crystalline flyer. She looked at me. I believe this one is no longer required. I smiled. Yeah, I think it served its purpose. She stepped closer, her silver skin glowing softly under the lights. Humans are statistically reckless, she said. We prefer romantically optimistic. Her eyes shimmered. Taking that flyer altered the course of an empire. I shrugged. Guess someone had to. She intertwined her fingers with mine. I am glad it was you. Around us, life on Meridian Station continued. Ships docking, traders arguing, mercenaries boasting. But for the first time in her life, she was not a piece on a galactic board. She was simply Kale. And I was simply the human who took the flyer. Sometimes history changes with wars. Sometimes with revolutions. And sometimes with a single, ridiculous piece of paper that says, looking for a mate. No conditions. And somehow, against all odds, I was the only human who said yes.